The fundamental difference between recording audio and video is like this. Imagine this is a human dildo. Imagine this is a dick, okay? This is the top of the dick. The dick is thick and long. So imagine this as a sound wave. When the sound wave, when my voice came to you, it's like a dick, like came towards you, bang, to your ears, fucking your ears, and you're kind of, that movement. That's the masturbating. When masturbating, you are understanding the surface of the dildo. You feel the texture, the extruding part, the dip in part. So when you masturbating, you basically understand how the surface is in. It feels like the structure of the surface of the dildo in a 3D construction. That's equivalent of you hearing the sound. You're hearing the surface, just like you're masturbating. You feel the surface of the dildo. That's when you're hearing the sound. But when you looking at a still picture, when you look at the picture, you cut the dildo in half. You cut it, you slice it, cut it in half, and you look at the cutting surface. When we cut and you see how the structure of the dildo is made, the wings inside, the macro cells structure inside, you're slicing it, cut it, and you see the cut surface. That's when you look at a still picture. That's what a still picture equivalent to this. So the direction is different. When my sound wave came to ears, it's like dildo fucking your ears. But when you look at a still picture, you cut the dildo in half and you look at the cutting surface. The surface, you look at this as you look at the still picture. When you try to capture light waves, the fundamental difference between light waves and sound waves is that light waves carry more information. Sound waves carry much lesser information. It's like comparing then a stream to a fucking waterfall. The light goes much faster and the light vibrates much higher than the sound wave. Light wave, we are talking about visible light, vibrates at terahertz. Terahertz is the one with a bunch of zeros. The audible sound wave are from 20 hertz to 20,000. So 20 hertz is literally vibrate 20 times in a second. 20 times. 20,000 is not that much comparing than terahertz. Can you imagine terahertz? The light wave vibrates at terahertz. You can't really comprehend that. It's that fast. So in order to make a video, you need to read the information, but the information is tremendous. If you try to sample the light information as into a grid, which that's how you sample the audio wave in a grid. But you're trying to sample the light information just because of the light vibrates so fast and it carries so tremendous information. It's basically impossible to try to capture the airy vibration of the sound wave. Okay, it's that hard in my understanding. But the sound wave, just because it starts from 20 times per second, 20 times to 20,000 times, the sound waves is much easier to capture, to sample. So the way to sample is to you make a grid. It has x axle and y axle, which is in another word latitude and altitude. Okay, so forget about sample rate and bit depth. It's just very confusing. Just understand it as a grid, and a grid on the 2D surface sine wave. The audio, the sound is a 3D structure through time, but you capture it on a slice, and it's two-dimensional. And the sound wave, you imagine that it travels like that, sine wave, and you put a grid on the sine wave. So when the sine wave moves, you imagine that moves, and you can have a grasp of the movement of the sound wave. We're talking about single sine wave. So you have the grid readings of the how sound wave moves, and you transfer that information into a digital one, into electric pulse, electric circuits. I don't know. Just it's transferred the physical vibration into another reality, and you process that reality, and then you feed back that information back to this physical world, which the electricity information becomes physical vibration again, which come from the speakers. Just because the sound wave vibrates much slower, that's how we capture sound wave. And the difference between the audio and the video is that a speaker is equivalent to 1 pixel. Let's say you have this camera CMOS, which have millions of pixels, tiny little diodes on their semiconductor base. Each little diode is 1 microphone equivalent to microphone. So you have millions of microphones on a 2D flat surface. You stream that information into a screen, computer screen. Every little pixel is 1 speaker. So you have literally millions of speakers in front of your eyes. But in audio, you only have 1 speaker. Really, you have 2 to make it 3D, but you also need 2 screens overlap each other to have a 3D view. But normally you look at 2D screen, give you a 2D visual effect. Audio gives you a 3D effect. But in fundamental basic, you only have 1 output, which is 1 pixel. When you have 1 pixel to record the audio, you only receive 1-dimensional information. It's like when you zoom on the screen, zoom, and you see every single pixel. The pixel is pure color. The speaker is that 1 pure color. Imagine you only look at 1 pixel and you play the video, but you only zoom all the way to 1 pixel on the screen, and you're looking at the pixel flickering in monotone, not monotone, but just pure colors. That's what you hear in the speaker. That's what all audio processing is doing. So when you're recording, let's say you're recording the nature, the sound source actually making the sound are individually, but when you collect the sound through microphone, it's wave different frequencies and intensity waves overlapping each other, and you only take the highest part. So it's always the let's say there's a sine wave like this, and there's another sine wave like this, very intensive and very high frequency, and it is that overlapping top sketch of all the waves combined is that you are hearing. You're not hearing the waves that lower volume and that is being covered beneath. you can't hear that because only have 2 ears. Each ear is 1 pixel. If you have millions of eardrums in micro eardrums in each of your ear, you will hear sound much different. The sound will be like when you look at the screen for video. So you only have 2 eardrums. That's why you only hear the surface of the sound. But in reality, things surrounding you which making the sound waves are all individual source. They make the whole vibration spectrum of sound, but you can only pick up the surface of it. But for light, just because your eyes have millions of nerves in it, so each individual of that nerve is equivalent to 1 pixel in the camera CMOS. So that's how you can see, you can receive more information comparing than audio. So when you watching the video, you actually watching a series of still frames. It's actually not light going through in a natural wave. As you're hearing the sound actually going a natural wave. You're sampling it. You just dip into those waters. You put a grid into it. You try to understand every detail of the vibration, but the light, you cannot do that. It's a collection of during a certain period of time, and you look at that collection, a sum up of a collection of light information. So you're looking at a still frame. There really isn't a video there. It's just a series of still frames. You're looking at still pictures as a series of motion, and your brain you imagine it as a movement, but you really isn't looking at an actual movement. Oh, this is very brain consuming. So you're looking at still pictures. So what is still pictures? Still picture is that you try to sample the light, but you cannot sample light because it's tremendous. You can't tell, you can't record the action of the light wave. So you can only have a full picture, a collection of a sum up of a total energy, the total movement. You can give a conclusion of the information as it roughly looks like, and that light information is being recorded into 1 2D frame. You call that picture. That's why when you're pausing the video, you still look at the still image, which is you're looking at all the time. You just imagine movements. But when you pause an audio file, we play and pause it, it stopped. It stops. You no longer hear the audio because it's linear through time. So why can't we do the audio like we do as the why can't you pause a sound? Okay, why can't you pause a sound? Because it's vibration. When it don't vibrate, there's no sound. A sound wave is that you are going along with the stream. That's why when you pause it, there's no sound because there's no vibration. But when you paused a video, so-called, you think you paused a motion, but you really don't pause a motion. You just stop the series of pictures going. So you, instead of looking at series of still frame, you're looking at one of the frame. So here is the fun takeover. Can we actually pause in the sound? So by that means, when you're playing, let's say you're playing a rainy forest with insect sound and bird sound, and you hit the pause. Okay, the audio keep going, but it's going at the right moment that you paused. So it's like, let's say when. So let's say when the time you pausing, all the frequency that is vibrating is keep the same frequency and keep vibrating. Just like when you look at the picture, when you look at a picture, it is all the light wave vibrating at the same rate. It's still vibrating. Different frequency represents different color. All the frequency is keep vibrating at the same frequency. That's why you keep seeing the picture. If the light stop vibrating, the picture went dark. You don't see anything. So obviously you can pause the audio. It's possible. When you pause the audio and you try to play it on a pair of speaker, it's just not gonna work. It's not gonna work. You need at least I don't know, represent every audible frequency. So that's like 20,000. It represents for 20,000 hertz. So 20,000 speakers on a screen of speaker screen. You have speaker screen on the left, on the right, and you keep your ear facing them, and when your ear close to that speaker panel, you can hear different parts of the panel and hearing the different source of the sound, because when you're recording, you also have a panel, just like the camera CMOS. You have a panel of microphones. You have 20,000 microphones on this microphone panel. When you're recording, you have two of that because you want it to be 3D. That's how you can pause the audio, because when you pause the audio through one speaker, the one speaker is 1 pixel. It can only given one vibration. If the vibration, let's say 440 hertz, then the whole speaker have to vibrate at 440 hertz. It's just one speaker. You can't expect the surface of the vibrating let's say the plastic is vibrating, making a sound, which is the sound part of the speaker. You can't expect the surface, the plastic vibrating surface, vibrating at different ratio. It doesn't work like that. It can only make one frequency, which equivalent to the screen of pixels. Each pixel can only vibrate at one color. You can't expect one pixel to vibrating at a different color in different area. It doesn't work like that. It's the basic unit. So you have millions of them, and each single unit is vibrating at different color. That's how you see the whole picture. You see, oh, nature. But when you zoom in, it's one pure color, and next to one some other pure color. That's what speaker equivalent to. You need a wall of at least 20,000 speakers. Each speaker vibrating at a different frequency. That's how you can hear the sounds at different frequency. Each speaker make one wave, and you have a collection of waves. That's how you can hear the collection of waves. So that's why you can't pause the audio by one speaker. If you force to pause that, the speaker will make one frequency, which is like a sine wave. It's like when you censoring the fuck you, the beep, you will hear the beep. You will hear it. That's one sine wave out of the whole nature sound, which is not a nature sound. The nature sound have to be 20,000 of speakers singing in different tunes, and you're hearing the whole collection of that, which you call that nature sound. Oh, forest sound. That's your perception. But even you have that speaker panel, you only have one eardrums. You only have one pixel to receive. So you can't hear that as a full picture. Just like your eyes, but your eyes have millions of nerves to comprehend that, so it's better. But you still can use that one pixel eardrum to hearing different parts of the speaker panel, and to actually hearing the virtual reality of sound. Interesting, isn't it? That's what I'm spending my time sitting here thinking about. Something wrong with me. I'm not human.